Hello, I'm Regina, and we are so excited to bring you our 4th live stream event. And it's usually stories from the seller, but we have a guest, and we were just looking at how could we be COVID safe in this environment and still do our live stream. So we are here at the Alley Cat in Tacoma.
Yeah, this is cute.
I'm so excited to be here. So I've got my partner and cohort and partner in crime, Madison, business partner, and then we have Cortney Manning-Tripp.
Hi.
And we're so excited to have her.
The woman of the hour.
Yeah, we're going to dig into her because she is a family therapist.
Marriage and family.
Marriage?
But I just like to say relationship therapist.
Relationship.
Yeah.
And Lord knows things have been a little crazy around here. So we want to get into Cortney's brain to find out how we can do better and be better and all of those things. So should we start with talking about the Pierce County housing market, or where do you want to start?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all you, girlfriend. Go for it.
Throw it back to me. Throw it back to you. Okay. I do have some interesting things. I think the most interesting thing for me is and we could look at what difference a year makes. And what
you have the real stats, and then I have a real time experience. I was just talking about my Super Bowl Sunday, and
I think you should actually
you
tell
want me?
that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Because
So it's like a heartbreak. I actually just got this as I'm sitting here, but in this market for buyers, it is out of control competitive, and it really doesn't matter at what price point you're at, whether you're at 300,000 all the way up to 750, 8, it's still competitive. Almost every single buyer is competing, and it's hard.
it is
So, normally an agent will throw out their listing, and then there'll be an offer review. So last night I was working up this offer.
she didn't miss much on that Super Bowl. I was prepared to be really excited about it, and I was
And
up
that's
until
okay.
the halftime show. After the weekend was there, it was just all downhill.
I fall on my sword. I don't care about football. I'm the least Seahawks, who I'm sorry if that's unlikable.
Okay.
It was okay.
The commercials,
But not
though.
me. I'm just saying.
Yeah, the commercials. Actually, that's pop culture. I should have been in on the commercials, but I wasn't. I was writing an offer for our lovely buyers. And it was a house that was in University Place, super competitive. I showed it over the weekend, and they're actually having an estate sale there as I was showing it. It was kind of wild, but wrote this amazing offer. We did a pass-fail inspection. We went $50,000 over ask with our escalation. We had a $10,000 earnest money. I'm just spilling out all of our cards.
Let's go.
Oh, yeah. So we added in this $20,000 form called an AD, which means if the appraisal comes in low, we will bring in $20,000 to close.
Yeah.
And I included an evidence of funds to be yes,
We actually have the
this money
money
exists in
available.
my account. And I mean, I'm not going to spill all my other secrets in case anyone else is listening.
Because
but
It
was a really clean offer. And I just got the email that we didn't win. And that's the least favorite part of my job.
Yeah. It's been really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we are above average in being able to be competitive for our clients. And even with that, it is still very, very hard. And we actually talked about it as listing agents. We're changing the way we do business, and we talked about doing a pre-inspection and doing some things to kind of level the playing field to get more people to bid on a house. So
yeah, because poor buyer.
It's very, very hard.
We want to start doing a pre-inspection with every listing. So then, as a buyer, some of our buyers are paying for 5 inspections before they actually get under contract for a house. And it's wild because 5 times $700 is a lot of freaking money.
And she says 5, but she really means 2.
Just add 3.
All right.
I'm dramatic. Okay,
She
but
just is a
for
little
the
dramatic.
drama, though, it's really about trying to level the playing field. So as a listing team, we are encouraging our sellers to do a pre-inspection. So then we're like, hey, here's our listing.
Yeah.
Here is our pre-inspection. Go hard with
Make
your
your offers
offers
accordingly.
But to try to make it a fair.
Yeah.
a fair game.
Honestly. And here's what's perpetuating that.
Oh, yeah.
And this is kind of interesting. Windermere Professional Partners, where we work, they are so great about connecting us with statistical resources that tell the story of what's happening in Pierce
Tell the
County.
drama, please.
Yeah.
But this is very, very
Spill
interesting.
the tea.
Yeah, spill the
so
tea.
the tea is that in Pierce County, and I'm looking from December 15th to January 15th, which is the last number crunch. Very interesting. 400 and under in Pierce County. It's the same chance of selling. And I'd have to put this baseline out there that a 50% chance of selling is balanced between buyer and seller. So there's no advantage, right? Okay. 400 and under in Pierce County, 514% chance of selling. It's a little bit of a
Right.
seller advantage.
Yikes.
But from month to month, that stayed the same. Here's the very interesting thing. From 400 to 600 in Pierce County, we went from a 418% chance of selling to 414, but like a 30% chance growth in 1 month in the 400 to 600 time cost, which is just like, that market has just gone out of control. And then 650 to 750, pretty much the same, 250% chance of selling. But then check this out. 750 to a million has also grown 30% in 1 month. That advantage to the seller. That
We used
market.
to see that market, and it was
Change.
more of a balance between buyers and sellers,
Yeah.
but no.
And then, you got a million. And then the
No.
other thing is like we look a million to 1.2 and then 1.2 to 1.5, all about the same, where it gets closer to being balanced. But then this is like crazy. 1.5 and above in Pierce County. Now that also, it went from a 65% chance of selling to 144% chance of selling.
Wild.
So,
Well,
like,
and that luxury market in Pierce County, like the luxury market used to be, I mean, $700,000 properties was like a
Right.
luxury
Yeah,
property,
yeah.
and now $1 million is a thing.
right.
Yeah.
We're bringing it to Pierce County. So
Yeah.
it's exciting. And we were talking with Cortney before we started this, just because she purchased a house quite a while ago. And we were
Yeah.
talking about the dilemma that a lot of buyers are facing, where it's like, great, I can sell my house for $1 million
Right.
compared to what I bought it for. But like, what will
Where
I
are we
buy?
going to go after that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The move up
So-
house is
Harder to,
Harder,
it's still
yeah.
harder. Yeah.
They're there, but you got to be very competitive.
Yeah. It is really hard. And just looking at how Pierce County is done, you would think that a global pandemic would have slowed things down, but
No.
not at all. Not at all. So our median value increased 14.2% according to the Pierce County Economic Index.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? In a pandemic year.
go
and then
Pierce County.
yeah, I know. And our housing affordability, and this is interesting, it's an index that's kind of dictated by the median household income. And it also looks at the median sales price, and it also looks at the interest rates. And it kind of does this calculation. And Pierce County, like back in 2018, we were like 178, where 100 is a good score. And if it's above that, then we are more affordable, right? So like 2018, we were like 178, and now we're 137, which is still good
Yeah.
comparatively, but it's very interesting how Pierce County is, it's gotten a little bit more pricey. Yeah. Yeah. That's all
Pros
for the
and
statistical
cons.
moment. So it's like, and
you.
as agents, we always look at like
So important.
what happens like in a specific area, but the fact is that all of them are different. There is no, and we've listened to Matthew Gardner, who's the statistician for Windermere, and there's
We
no
always say, like, this
slowing
is,
down.
he's way smarter than we
He's
are. So we're
way
not pulling these numbers out of our wazoo. Like, this is a statistician.
Yeah, and we're going to remain strong, and we're going to remain somewhat affordable throughout the next year. So, that being said, there's a whole cauldron of emotions that happen when you purchase a house.
Yeah, I was just about to ask, well, the emotions on the side of selling, since you just got this offer,
Yeah.
how's that
Yeah.
to not close?
It's
I
every,
guess.
and that is why you are here, because it is everyone. I feel for we try to put ourselves in people's shoes as much as
Yeah.
possible. And it's like, we were both sellers and
Yeah.
buyers actually last year during COVID. And then we work with buyers and sellers. So I mean, we are having great conversations with sellers. It's a good story for them. But then the buyers shopping right now, and the agents who are representing these buyers are, I mean, I try to not like put myself by the hour. Like if I think like, okay, what am I actually making per hour? Don't do that. Agents out there, don't do that. But it's hard. It's hard and it's competitive. And so we, and it's not only just hard and competitive in our industry and our world and what we see, it's everywhere.
And I just like, and I tell people, even it's an easy story for sellers. It's easier for them, right? But I was just a seller, and I sold my own personal house, like coming into the fourth quarter of last year. And I said, traditionally fourth quarter is a little slower. So actually, I incentivized my tenants to move out early so that I could sell my house. And this was our family house, right? And I kick myself every day because I could have easily made, tens of thousands of dollars more now from then. So it's very interesting to, have your professional real estate agent look at those numbers, see how it impacts what you're going to do. And, you can't ever kick yourself by shoulda, coulda, woulda, because you can only do with what we're presented with right now. Right. Yeah. So Cortney,
Ooh.
Cortney, you are a local, you have your own company. And when we met, tell us your journey. I want to hear a little bit about how you came into doing what you do now.
Oh my gosh. When we met, I was trying to buy a house. So
yeah.
And I'm like, starting your own business. This was before, this was way before me.
It was I think we just 2009, over 10 years ago.
Yeah. Over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And what was it about Regina that you were like, okay, she's my girl?
Oh my gosh.
Do you remember?
This is so funny though, because you were working with another person at the time.
Yep. I was.
Ron
Powers.
Yes. And it was so funny because we were like, I know this sounds really bad, but
it's okay.
We were discussing, we just want to deal with Regina. She's so good at this. She's totally hearing us out. She needs to help us ASAP.
She's the one.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, so do we call Ron or do we bypass it altogether and call Regina? How do we do this and not be like, we don't want to talk to you right now? She's doing so good. But yeah, we were just like, this is good. We really liked what you were doing and how you were helping us and keeping us informed because we were new. We didn't know what we were doing. So it was nice to have somebody, I don't want to say hold my hand, but I mean, for all intents and purposes, it was really nice. It was I'm freaking out. Yeah. Talk me off the ledge.
Yeah. That's a lot of what we do, actually. Yeah.
I know. I'm kind of a therapist. I am, but I'm not. But it's not just houses. Sometimes it's a lot of the emotional part.
Yeah.
Yes. Which over this time, I've learned the emotional part is way more than you think. It seems like it's really easy when you're in it. And then when you're done, you're like, I didn't realize all that was going on.
Yeah.
I was worried about the money, worried about what this means for the long term.
Yeah.
All that. Or like you say, what if the offer doesn't go through? Because we looked at several houses and, you get your hopes up and you're like, this is the one. And then you're like, no, sorry. Got to start over.
All the layers.
Yeah. Yeah. And Cortney, you've been so good because, it's a long time. And, we've kept in touch. And you guys have come to my client events. And I've got to see our family grow up. And then our kids ended up in school together. Yeah. So, but I remember you went back to school to be able to do what you do and started your own business. It's only been a couple of years?
Yeah. Let's see. Well, 3 by myself.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been doing this the whole time you've known me. So
yeah,
and I'm not done, which is you're probably like, what? I'm going, which is
with school. You're not done with school.
The connecting part. Sometimes I'm working on my PhD too. So
nice.
Yeah.
Oh, Cortney.
I'm done after that. I promise. Yeah, that's it. I think that's as far as they'll let me go anyway. So
yeah. Well, given the current state of the world, what are you seeing in your practice with what maybe the top 1 or 2 things that you're seeing people come in that they're struggling with, that they need help?
I think right now it's just everyone realizing that this is like it's trauma. Our normal has changed. And this is kind of our normal. It's been
What is the definition of
almost a year.
trauma? Like, can you elaborate on that? Because
You've got your cell phone. We're going to have to...
yeah, I know. I'm like, hey Siri, like, what is trauma? But I feel like when you said that, it hit home. But also, trauma to me seems very traumatic. So,
Right.
Like an event.
like
or-
like a.
Well,
I guess
this is an event, though.
It is
I
an
mean,
event.
it's a global event.
Yeah.
So I guess I would say trauma it's different for everybody because, like you said, it could be an event. It could be something that's said to you. It could be something done to you. I mean, it just depends on how you feel about it after it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I describe it. I don't know what the dictionary says
Yeah.
about it, but
So that's good.
you know.
That's good.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, there's so many things that happen because of the way families are being. Because, I mean, when you said, marriage and family, I'm thinking, okay, like, Dan, if you're watching, we got a good thing going on, baby. But, sometimes it's like being in the house, spending
Right.
more. He used to travel a lot and stuff. And it's like,
He used to get his hair cut. He used to,
like we got a thing going on. And sometimes I'm like, baby, I just want to throw punch you. Like, it's just like, so as far as if we just looked at like marriage
Yeah.
and like what's
Whoa.
happened during COVID, like, what would you say are some things that you find yourself saying again and again to your clients to get over the hump or to soften the friction?
I think what I've been saying to most people in general is just be easy on yourself and others because this isn't something that we've had to do before. We haven't had to stay at home all day
Yeah. Yeah. True.
with significant others, children,
Yeah.
let alone ourselves. I mean, we were always doing something. So to be home and then to have someone asking something of you, you're like, I'll work with you. What are you doing here? Like, what am I doing here? So I just say, be easy on yourself and others because it is a learning process because you are now becoming coworkers with your spouse, your significant other, your children. I mean, you're teaching your...
That's a good,
Yeah.
I mean, whether you chose to
yeah.
or not, like
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
coworkers.
Yeah, we're a partnership and
Yeah.
nobody's going anywhere.
Right, this is an 8-hour shift you can't get out of.
This is
Ooh,
24
shit.
hours.
I love that. I'm like, I'm on my lunch break.
Exactly. Like,
Ain't no lunch
hiding
break. You
out
lock
the
yourself in
laundry
the
room.
bathroom.
Yeah. Like, I'm doing the laundry right now. Don't come in here.
Do you find that more folks are reaching out and like not worried, but just having these struggles before within their marriage that they're like, I never felt this way before, and just kind of things are.
Yeah, I think it's because, like we were just talking about, you were really busy before. You'd come home and it's dark, or you'd leave and it's light out,
Yeah.
or vice versa, whichever season we're in, So you just got to spend those couple of hours where it's like, I'm going to decompress. I'm going to tell you about my day. Now it's like I'm waking up and you want breakfast. What? Like, I used to just drink coffee. What do you want from me? So it's that learning. You're learning the person. You're learning the people you live with because you've never really had to spend that much time with them,
Yeah.
except for on the weekend.
Yeah.
And then you fill it with activities, but now you're home. So it's like, I either need to learn more about you or I'm going to go to the other room and learn something about myself.
Yeah. I'm sure that there's a lot
Whoa.
of, yeah.
The self reflection
Yeah.
too. Yeah, it's a different person. Like, even, I mean, I'm still out doing things sometimes, but you're right. Like, you're home with yourself.
Yeah.
It's a different self than when you're out with yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah. I found that even like I feel like I'm an extrovert, but I have felt more introverted in this time. More, I just want to stay home and clean stuff up. And I just want to, like, I don't know. And it's weird. I don't know if it's safety or if it's just in the world. And I still miss stuff, but there's a
Yeah.
part of me that's just a little bit different. I mean, I think we're all a little bit different than we were the before.
Right.
and the after.
Is
Yeah.
there like a term for that yet?
I don't think there's one yet.
Like
I haven't heard one yet.
BC
I'm
before
sure there's
COVID.
coming. So yeah, it's going to be interesting.
It'll be.
Because I think it was so unexpected and it happened so fast. The adjustment period, I feel, is just now starting to happen, but it's now everybody's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go back
Right.
to the regular where, I could just go to my friend's house
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
I could go to work because there's some people that aren't working. So that's an added stress to being at home with the kids and the significant other.
The financial piece.
Yeah.
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 That's a whole. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Courtney, I'm just going to ask you some basic stuff. So, you're at home with your husband.
Wait, can I pause you? Because I'm sure everybody can hear this car alarm going off.
Yeah.
I think we should take a quick break and just let everyone know where we're at.
Yeah.
So we're on 6th Ave, folks, and we are live from Alley Cat on 6th Avenue. And Josh Norris is the owner of Alley Cat, and he actually owns a couple local Tacoma restaurants, Half Pint, which is just on 6th Ave also, and also another restaurant called Sluggo over by the Tacoma Dome. And if you ever have been to anything at the Tacoma Dome, you probably had pre-drinks or post-drinks there. So as we know, COVID has been so hard on restaurant owners, which is why we were excited to be here and just kind of shed a light. He has an outdoor patio. He does take out, and don't forget about the local folk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, and then we were talking about this when Courtney came, is because we've been doing these live streams from the cellar, and Courtney's was coming on the show, and she's like, okay, what are you guys doing to be COVID safe? And we're like, okay, the cellar.
It was a mic check, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, okay, we're not 6 feet,
We're not
so
6
like,
feet.
what do we do? And so Joe helped us come up with a really cool venue that we could be safely distanced and be outside and still be
Yeah.
comfortable, and so yeah, and be respectful. But we were talking about
Right.
like boundaries.
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I feel like that was the thing too. It was, even though this is my job and I teach people how to work on their boundaries, it was like, what do I say? Like, do I ask? And I was like, yes, this is the perfect time to work on a boundary. We're talking safety, not just mine, but others. And so that is one thing I do like to work on when I'm in session with my clients is boundaries, because even just this little thing here, it's worked out really well. And you were very accommodating to meet me where I was and my boundaries and my needs as well as yours. So that says a lot. And I think other people should take that into consideration too, especially during this time, because if you don't ask, you don't know. And a lot of times your friends and family are more willing to accommodate your boundaries than you think they are. But if you don't ask, you don't know.
So do you just straight up, you're just like, so yeah, you emailed us, you're like, so what are you doing to be COVID safe?
Like,
Is there
let's talk
another
about
sort
this.
of like phrase or like something that's comfortable? I mean, if you're going, I was just invited to somebody's birthday party and I'm like struggling because, and I'm an introvert, so I don't normally have FOMO, but it's one of my good friends and I want to go, but he said it's a party bus. And I'm like, first of all,
Ain't
doesn't
no
sound like
COVID
there's
safe
like
on the party
there's
bus.
no airflow.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, the party buses I've been on, like close quarters. And then, we're going to like a fun restaurant to do indoor dining. And I'm just, I'm like, what do I say? Courtney, tell me, what do I say?
I know.
I really don't know.
Yeah, what does working on your boundaries actually look like?
Well, I guess my first question would be is, do you want to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, 'cause,
I mean-
if you don't know, it's kind of hard to set the boundary of like what to ask
Right.
for and what not to.
That's a good
so
question.
making kind of like the decision to be all in, like I don't want to go, but I'll send a gift ahead, or I'll go, but I need this. Like I'll meet you there, or can we do a patio dinner or something, and see.
So
But-
find like your level of like
Yeah.
in, and
Yeah.
then based on that, be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
ask the questions.
Yeah. And I do think that's hard just because we're in unprecedented times. And I
Yeah.
hate I've been working on my self thing. It's just like knowing my why, knowing my boundaries,
The why,
having hard
yeah.
points, because I hate the indecision. But I actually, I have a lot of indecision where I'm like, I just don't know. And I hate that. But it's like, I think that there's so many strange things happening that
Yeah.
I'm not alone and going like,
Well,
I
that's a
want to
simple-
go,
that's a
but I
simple
don't want to go.
question.
Like, what do I do?
She's like, do you want to go?
Yeah. And you're like,
I can't even answer that question. I'm like, I don't know. If I feel that way, I should probably not go in the first place.
right.
Right.
If it's not a hell no, then it's probably a no. Right.
So that's like step one, I guess, with your boundaries.
Yeah.
Basic and simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it fulfilling you?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
If yes, then you said ask the questions.
Yeah. Because I think sometimes it's getting that part. Like, do I want to do this? Like, my body's having an actual physical reaction right now, but the words aren't coming. I don't know what this is.
And it's more about
Paying
me
attention
and
to
less about at that point.
Yeah.
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 That's good.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even being out in the world and just, situations that we're invited to, it's just, I guess, just kind of knowing myself a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it comes down to like those folks who are like inviting you. Like
Yeah.
I think most people have pure intentions of like wanting to please. So it's sometimes
Right.
hard to say no to people around boundaries with anything, COVID or not.
Yeah.
So how,
yeah.
like, do
Boundaries are hard, though.
yeah.
So, but I think you find a little bit more comfort in yourself in the things that you do when you put them in place. And so, like, even with doing this, that's why I was asking about the COVID protocols, because I actually use them myself in my office. I have no windows, so no ventilation. So I'm like, to meet my clients, I need to either be over the phone or telehealth until I get to a space where I have decent airflow or we're all, vaccinated or masked or whatever
Yeah.
we need to do so we don't have COVID anymore. But even that was like, what do I do? Are people going to come because I can't see them face to face? And that is like the normal protocol for what I do.
Yeah.
How
So-
has it been? Like, are people more or less likely to talk about
Oh, no.
feelings like through the phone or?
A Zoom.
Yeah.
No, actually, the funny thing is with Zoom, you get to see a little bit more of what they do, which is not the best during therapy because it's supposed to be you sit down and we're talking,
Yeah.
not me watching you fold your laundry or wash your dishes.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Things happen. But also over the phone, which I think it's been nice for me because I realized that it's helping people to learn to describe how they feel and what they're doing. If that makes any sense. Like, we don't talk about how we feel or like what we're doing. So to actually have to be present in the conversation and say, I'm not crying right now or I'm not smiling right now, I'm getting really upset. Because you can hear it in the way, like in the tone, but to actually have to let someone know this is my actual feeling, we kind of got out of that a little bit. So now it's been nice with my clients where they're like, it's very descriptive on like, this is kind of upsetting or like, so it's helping them find something to do, actively do, because there's so many things you can kind of get into now. I mean, even like what we're doing now, and still having those connections with your friends, even if it's over Zoom or setting up something out in the daytime. We'll meet at the park, kind of like, outdoors.
Yeah.
It's just being a little bit more creative.
Yeah.
And if also I tell all the kids, I don't know why I call them kids, they're like young adults. It's,
The
the
kids.
little
kids.
people,
Yeah.
that this is also a good time too to look at things you want to do in the next year because there's so many free programs to learn job wise or just learn a trade. Just do something you didn't think you wanted to do, but now you have the opportunity and the time to do it.
I like that.
So kind of layer other things in.
Yeah.
So instead of feeling just, it's almost like a distraction.
Yeah.
I mean,
It is, but it's also kind of that skill building, because if you're just kind of waiting for school to start again or be able to go back and do stuff, that is really unsettling because nobody has a date.
for anything.
Yeah.
No.
For planners in the
Right.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that
We'll,
right
we'll
there,
get business
yeah.
as normal on such and such date.
It doesn't
Like, no,
exist.
no,
Yeah.
Well,
the
that's
new
funny
normal.
that you brought up the whole something other than what you're doing, because my brother, who we were talking about, like,
Yeah.
he's presenting all, and he's a confident dude. I mean, from the surface, you're like, why do you have depression and anxiety?
Yeah.
And trying to understand that as a sister, as a mother, it's different. But he said to me today, we're Marco Poloing. It's kind of, that's like my business version of Snapchat, because
Yeah.
I'm too old for Snapchat now, so I do Marco Polo. But but I can see his face on Marco Polo, and he was talking about hobbies. He's like, man, Madison, like, I don't have any hobbies, da da da. And I was like, huh, that's interesting to
Yeah.
think of something other than like what's work or
Yeah.
school, and you need something else.
Yeah.
Coloring books.
I've had one in my Amazon cart for a while. I haven't pulled the trigger.
Yes.
Thank you, Courtney.
Get in touch with your creative side, or
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's painting. Yeah, I went and got Play-Doh from the Dollar Tree, and we just had a night where we did Play-Doh. Whatever you could think of to make with it, just make it, and then we'd talk about it.
oh, I like that.
Ooh.
Yeah,
You
just-
talk so, and this is with your family.
Yeah, with my family. Yeah.
And how old are your kids? No, we want to know.
I know they're old, though.
Oh, okay.
They're not kids anymore.
Yeah.
they're young
And that's
adults.
what- exactly. That's
but I like that. Like, can I do this with my friends? Like, okay,
Yeah.
what did you make
Yeah.
and why? Like,
Oh, you're asking. You don't
Yeah.
want to know.
no, you don't have to know.
Remember, okay, I said I have kids, but they're like old.
I'm trying to be like, okay, date night. Let's go get some Play-Doh. Like, tell me about your.
like
Yeah, it's still, you can still do, instead of going out to do paint and wine, you can do paint and wine at home.
Yeah.
Do you
Absolutely.
think that screens, or like, what is your 2 cents on like screen time and how that affects?
Question. I think that right now it's a necessity, but I think there's also a point where we need to dial it back a little bit. Like you were talking about earlier, is getting to know a little bit more about yourself. And if you're in front of this screen, there's a lot of comparing to others, a lot of, I should be out
FOMO.
I should be out doing that. Where this is a time, because before we didn't really have that time to sit back and be like, what do I want in the next year? Like, what does it look like for me to not work for a year? What does it look like for me to work or to completely do a different job or get a different degree?
Yeah.
And this is a time to do that because most things are shut down.
Yeah.
So,
So, and this, okay, so, depression, anxiety, and there's that moment where, like, we want to not, like, attract attention to it, like, give it, perpetuate
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
If it's
We were
not,
talking about this
if it-
earlier.
yeah, if it's not a thing, but we don't want to ignore it
Is
either.
there like a scale where
yeah,
you're
like,
like,
at one point, you're like,
at what point is it important to
get some help.
get some help, whether it's whether it's therapy, whether it's medicine? Is there is there like 5 questions that you're like, if you answered yes to all 5 of these,
you need some help.
you need some help?
well, they do have depression tests that you can take. You can actually go to your doctor and get it, and they can tell you whether or not you should find someone to talk to, or medication-wise, that's either your regular doctor or psychiatrist. But what I would say is that take it seriously in general. It's always something to think about, and think about what the other person's going through. So just constant conversation to see where they're at. And if you feel like it's getting worse. And I know it's kind of hard now because we don't have to get dressed up. We don't have to go anywhere. So not showering is not a big deal.
Yeah.
So, like,
I just showered this morning and this is why. Like,
yeah, exactly. Going out, get a shower. But I mean, if you're not going anywhere, some of those natural things that you would do on a daily basis kind of fall by the wayside. So they could be signs, but in this time you don't really know that. So I say just continue to talk to find out where they are, like in their mental space. But it's fine to go see a therapist at any time.
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally you work on your goals, you work on your depression, you work on your eating, you work on your finances. You can work on
Sounds like a
whatever you
mentor.
need. Yeah.
It sounds
Yeah.
honestly like I feel like you are probably people's mentor, helping them with everything.
You can. I mean, everybody has their own specific, like they'll work on certain things. So it's also like what you're looking to do at that time when you go. So that would be my other suggestion is know what you're going for. And you generally can get, a lot of people will do a 15-minute consult. I do that. Or you can just set up an appointment and say, this is what I want.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, because it is so personal, getting to talk to them and kind of know, like, do your values match my values? Like you say, what are we working on? What can
Yeah.
you help me with?
Yeah.
Works in that 15 minutes.
And is that like a free consult?
Yeah.
Then you
Some-
can,
yeah.
like, am I vibing? Okay. Because I mean, I don't know if this is a millennial thing or not, but even when we're talking to buyers and sellers, it's like, that's all fine and dandy, but like, what do I pay? You know, like,
Yeah.
let's be super transparent. Am I locked in for a year? Am I just,
Yeah.
you know, is there any out of pocket expense? So that's good to know. So you can kind of do a matchup and say, okay,
Yeah.
is this my girl?
Right. Because, it's whether you use your insurance or, like you said, pay out of pocket. What do? I like to tell people that when you go to therapy, it's like buying a house. You're getting a foundation.
Yeah.
You're getting something that's going to hold you steady for the long term. So
Yeah.
you put the money into it and you put the work into it, you come out with something really nice.
I feel like, I mean, honestly, I don't think there's a person in the world that couldn't benefit from some sort of therapy, life coaching,
Right.
counseling. It's just, I feel like, and people are maybe afraid of that, I feel like, oh, if I do that, there's something wrong with me. I just feel like everybody could benefit.
Yeah.
Because it's a third party perspective, somebody who's maybe trained. And so they can
You
take a
would hope so.
perspective.
Not just your girlfriend where you're like, oh my gosh,
God.
chatting over
Yeah,
wine.
you need
Right.
another martini, you're going to be
Yeah.
fine. Like, not that.
Yeah.
Like, just somebody who, like, knows and just can say, you know what, have you thought about this? And just
Right.
seeing it from a different
That
angle.
was a
Yeah.
question. So I asked I asked people on social media. I was like, hey, what are your questions for Cortney? So somebody asked, how do you go about finding your person? Like, is there, I mean, Cortney's a great therapist, so we'll
you.
link her information in the
Yes,
bio.
we
But
will.
also, is there like one website where you can find all of the therapists locally?
We all advertise different places, but I would say for the most part, Google, it sounds really bad,
Yeah.
but like you can Google therapist in my area. You can search Psychology Today. I think that's by zip code and town.
Psychology Today?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also things like Therapy Den. There's
like realtor.com.
yeah,
Yeah, all the
literally there
different-
are, because there's even like clinicians of color. I think there's so many different like things you could type in to find them, find different
So
therapists.
do your research.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think you were right too, because even like Madison said with buyers and sellers is, let's get together. I mean, this is a relationship that, it could be quick. It could be long.
Yeah.
It could
Depending
be
on
like,
what you need from it.
right.
Yeah.
It could be like 10 plus years, right?
Yeah.
It's like, let's make sure that we do vibe and that we have some common ground. We have
She
some
used the word
respect for-
vibe. That was cute.
So
It's
yeah, I
important.
think that, and if somebody you're going to be spilling with, you're going to be honest with yourself, with them, then it has to be something that you feel, somebody that you feel
Right.
comfortable
Yeah.
with. And yeah.
yeah. Because
That's
I like to tell people that when you're in therapy, it is a real growing process, and you get to really learn about yourself and the people around you. And what I do, it's even if the person isn't in the room, I work on those relationships with you and how to set your boundaries and how to have that conversation of it's not you, it's me, and I need to express my feelings in a way that's safe for me, and learning how to do that. So like you say, when someone asks, well, do you want to go?
Yeah.
Do you want to go to the party, Madison?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a quick answer. No, I don't. And this is why. And I'm okay with that. Or, yeah, I want to go. And, well, that's the end of
So
that.
one of the main foundations of everything is your own boundaries.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And then it's like plugging things in. Like, okay, does this fit within my boundaries or
Right.
does this not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Well, because those kind of set the tone for you personally and financially and professionally. Because if you don't have that in place, you kind of get people telling you what they want you to do. And if you can't accommodate or it makes you feel uncomfortable,
Yeah.
then how do you get out of it? So I like to say that is the number one thing when we start working together. I assess those really quickly, your boundaries, and help you figure out how to present that.
Yeah. And the name of your company is Treat Yourself Better Therapy.
Whoa.
And I love that.
Yeah,
like, how
that's
did you
good.
come upon that? Was it just like, because it really like has to do with the person in the mirror?
Oh my gosh.
Hit
Okay.
hard.
This is I tell this to people and I try not to tell it a lot because you're going to think this is crazy. But Parks and Recs, they had a Treat Yourself Day.
Oh,
And they said it was the best day of the year. And it was once. And so I was like, it needs to be every day. I need to remember and I need to remind people that you should treat yourself better every day. Not just one day, every day. And this is a process that I like to go through with my clients because if you can't do it, then we can't expect somebody else to do it.
boom. Ding, 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 ding. I love that,
That's
Courtney.
the title of the
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah. That's just awesome. And I think, you know,
treat,
that's
treat yourself better day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what does that even look like for me?
Yeah.
It's a process of maybe a little bit of discovery, a little bit of tapping into what you already know, but maybe you can't vocalize it yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is, for you, like what are your favorite self-care tips or like things that you do every day or every once in a while?
I'm really working on the coloring part.
Okay.
That I'm working on, but I take time to knit a little bit.
So it's creative stuff.
Yeah. I keep saying I want to get like super organized because my other bad like habit is watching the organizing shows. And
I was going to say, have you seen Home Ec?
yeah, they make you feel like,
I
oh
be-
man,
I really should. I really should.
Yeah.
That's like
And then
better
I'm
than
like-
an Adderall. Like, I'll be in there organizing my closet for hours.
Yeah. So that's kind of been what I've been doing, like total deep dive into what's a good TV show this week that will get me out of my let's organize and redo this whole. So, yeah. I think that's me. I've went a little crazy on buying face masks, but then I was like, you can't do this every day. So,
I love the skincare self-care. That's definitely a
Yeah.
favorite.
yeah.
Actually, when you just said TV shows, this is another question just for my arsenal, is I feel like I do enjoy true crime, and there are certain, like, I'm watching Night Stalker on Netflix right now, and that's creepy as hell. And I feel better when I watch shows like The Home Edit, like when I'm
Yeah.
watching things like that versus true crime. Like, do you have any 2 cents on that?
I
Like
think
what you digest in?
I think if it helps you to separate from what's going on, I think any TV show can help you do that. It's like you said, what you hold on to. And if you turn it off and you're afraid to go to bed, you probably shouldn't be watching
Probably not a
it.
good idea.
It makes me stop thinking about my buyers and sellers, though.
I just need a little Night Stalker.
I just want to hear it's healthy, okay? That's it.
And then you can't go to the bathroom because the lights are off and it's dark in the house. Yeah, no, we don't want
That
that.
presents another problem.
Yeah.
That does.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I
So-
know that I have, and like when we went into COVID, I changed a lot because teach part-time at the Y, and the physical exercise was something. And I've done a morning routine, like a morning practice for years, but I do know that like when COVID hit, a lot of that just went by the wayside. I was like, snooze, like forget it. And so like kind of coming back to those things that I was doing before that were in my control, and starting my day with like a mindset and a feeling was really good to get back to. And I preach to my kids, I preach to my family that, it's just kind of starting out because, life will smack you around.
Yeah.
It's just inevitable. And if you kind of start your day with just a few minutes in a good place, then you're much more likely to have a good day.
So do you find that you're going back into a routine or like creating a new one for the time that we're in?
Yeah.
That is helpful. I will say that is helpful because for a while nobody had a routine. So
the routines were like, shh, boom.
Yeah.
The exercise went out the window, eating right went out the window.
Yeah.
It's like
whatever.
It's like vacation when you're just like, oh, it doesn't count. Oh,
Yeah.
we're only when we thought it was a 2-week or like
Yeah.
a couple month thing, but
Yeah. I think like you were saying, even just down to sitting and like having your coffee in the morning or your tea or your matcha, whatever you're drinking, chai, maybe even just like doing everything slow. Just a slow into the morning or writing.
I just had an eye twitch when you said a slow morning. I was like,
You're like, no, there's nothing
I was
slow
like,
about this.
oh. But I do think I am the most creative. I don't know if that's like my rising sun Pisces or whatever, but like leaning into a slow morning, it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
Boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what's important to you? Like
Drink
kind of a
some
self-audit.
water, stretch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just kind of wrapping things up, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you were to give like a piece of advice to anybody who's like in, who's just dealing right now, like at what point maybe like a piece of advice, and like maybe like what would be that thing that would be like, I need to reach out and get some additional help?
I'd say the first one is like when we were talking about earlier, if somebody asks you a question simple as how are you doing and you're having trouble figuring that out, that is a prime time to ask for help.
Yeah.
Or look into if that's what you want to do at that time. Because I'll say if you're not ready, it's not going to be the same. So putting in the effort to do it is going to be very important. Mm-hmm. And I know right now effort, it's like, nobody wants to put in effort for that. But I think of it this way. When you do that, you're going to get a little bit more enjoyment out of your life, out of your relationships, and out of just your everyday activities. Because one, you're learning about yourself, and you're learning how to ask for help and how to receive help. Because I think that, too, is a big thing. You can ask for it, but I can also be like, I know I asked you to help me, but I don't really like the way you loaded the dishwasher today. Like we're about to have a fight about that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's help, and it's learning to receive it and learning to be gentle again with the people around you and yourself. So I would say that would be time to look into it is anytime.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I know.
How are you
and
doing?
I've heard you say a couple different times, and I love it because that is, I think that's like the baseline of what we're talking about right now is just to be gentle with yourself. I've heard you say it, and it's like, and I know because I'm kind of that person too, that if you're a little bit type A and you're like, I should, and just being like, just chill and be good to yourself and just kind of doing that self-audit is really an important part of getting by and being able to not only survive what's going on, but to thrive and to fully embrace it.
Yeah, because I should have is like the worst. I should have. Like,
strike it.
Yeah.
Don't even. So, Courtney, if somebody wants to enlist your services or to meet and greet and chat with you
virtually.
Yeah. If it was, if you can help them or maybe point them towards some resources in the community or something, what is the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, I do have a website, and it's obviously treatyourselfbettertherapy.com.
Love it.
I do have a Facebook page, and I'm not going to even, I wrote that down. I cannot remember what it was. I know
We'll
it's
link
like
it. We'll link it.
yeah, I know it's like TYB. Anyway.
They make you get
yeah.
a weird, yeah.
It's so many things, but that can also find me on Psychology Today. But lo and behold, I do have a phone number. So
Ooh. Spit it in.
Throw it out there.
it's 253 678 6288.
628.
Yeah.
And can us millennials, can we text you?
Yes.
Okay. I'm like, all hours of the night. No.
Okay, well, not all hours of the night. That, okay, now I'll put
She
out
knows her
I'll put out a
boundaries. She
boundary.
knows her
Like,
boundaries.
you need rest, I need rest. We only do good work when we're well rested.
Yes. A round of
We'll bring
applause
it
for that.
full
Yeah.
circle for that. Well, thank you, Courtney. And I feel like we should all treat ourselves better every day.
I know. I feel
here
like
for
it's
that.
it's a
Mantra.
really good. Yeah. I mean, as buyers and sellers in this market, it's like there's challenges in everything. It's a global pandemic. It's like
Give yourself
politically
grace.
weird. It's just like, yeah, give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
Treat yourself better and
Know your boundaries.
And if you need help,
Yes.
reach out and find
Yeah.
some help. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually
Not
a
at all.
sign
It's
of
the
strength.
strongest thing that you can do.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Because there is that stigma about, oh, there's obviously something wrong with you, but you don't have to have anything wrong with you to want better for yourself and others and to have healthy relationships with healthy boundaries.
A
There's
to the man.
absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yes. It's like we all could grow in that area. 100%. Yeah. With ourselves, our clients, our friends, our significant others. Hi, Dan.
Yeah. And on the
Did I say throw a punch earlier?
Dan, if you don't know,
Okay, Courtney, now let's talk about us. Now we're all there. Turn it off.
Seriously. Awesome. Well, should we sayonara,
Yes.
ladies?
We'll air
Okay.
cheers.
Yes. And thanks for tuning in.
yeah, thanks
Yep.
for having me.
We're so glad you were here. Thank you for being
Fun
here.
little
And,
Wednesday night.
yeah, and thanks for making the alley cat happen.
Yeah.
Super cool.